So, sup, it's Sora. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm re-recording this video because my microphone broke, and I tried recording it on my laptop on voice memos, but it sounded like this, and yeah, nobody wants that. So I have this little phone microphone thing, and I'm recording it on my phone, so if the audio sounds weird, that is why. Let's hope this comes out better. But before we get into the video, I want to make it known that I don't actually hate Lisa. It's a little extreme to hate a video game character. She actually has one of my favorite designs in the game. If we're leaving out that hairstyle, I do hate that hairstyle a lot. But I digress. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I personally hate using Lisa and all the issues I have with her kit. I won't be taking into account her personality or anything that isn't directly related to combat. So without further ado, let's jump right in. My main issues with Lisa fall directly within her talents. Her normal attacks are actually the coolest of all the Catalyst users in my opinion. I just like the look of striking your foes with lightning from your hands. And since Lisa is a Catalyst user, her normal attacks apply Electro, which can be quite useful with an off-field support of another element for reaction purposes. So far so good. To sum up what I'm saying, I like her normals. They aren't anything special, but they're fine and kinda cool. Her elemental skill Violent Arc, however, is the worst thing I have ever encountered in this game. I like to go so far as to say that it's the worst elemental skill in the entire game, unless I'm forgetting something. You see, every playable unit in the game has an elemental skill that directly applies the respective element onto enemies upon being used, as well as dealing damage unless they're a utility or a support type of move or character or whatnot. This is very important because Lisa's skill, on tap, deals no damage and has no form of utility or support for the team whatsoever. So it already fails to meet half of the requirements to be a decent skill. And then if you want the damage, you have to stand in place completely vulnerable for multiple seconds at a time. This is bad. That is very bad. And sure, you could bring a shielder like Zhongli to protect her, but not everyone has Zhongli because he's a limited 5-star character. And shields in this game really suck. Crystallize is one of the worst, if not the worst, reaction in the entire game. And shielders like Diona, Xinyan, Noelle, and whatnot, yeah, their shields aren't the greatest without ridiculous amounts of investment. So, yeah. This means that if you do bring a shielder to protect Lisa while she's standing completely immobilized in the middle of hordes of enemies, that she can only take a few hits before her shield breaks, and then, well, now she's standing there completely vulnerable. This also means that fighting hordes of enemies is Lisa's weakness, which is bad when her entire kit is designed around fighting multiple enemies. It's a complete setup, and sure, her C2 can help alleviate this issue, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But let's say that you come prepared to use Lisa's skill without worry, whether shields, heals, whatever the case may be. You don't have to worry about being hit. Cool. Her tap builds up conductive stacks on her enemies, which increases the damage her hold version does, with the maximum number of stacks being 3. Now, the cooldown is very short, but this means that to maximize Lisa's, damage output for her skill, you'd have to swap to Lisa, use her tap E 3 times, and then still hold her E to get her damage. Not to mention the 16-second cooldown. 16 seconds, that's as long as some bursts. All of that for some electro damage when Fischl exists and can consistently apply amazing electro damage from off field. And again, sure, her C6 may directly solve this problem, but we haven't gotten to that bridge yet. For now, this skill takes too long, too much preparation, and leaves you way too vulnerable for me to even lie and say that it's a decent move. Her elemental burst, Lightning Rose, is what really gets me though, because of course, to get her burst up, she needs energy from the use of her skill, and we just talked about that. Or she has to be batteried by another Electro unit, and literally any other Electro unit is a better pick than Lisa, so I don't know why you not only bring her, but then bring a better character to battery her, but you do you. However, her 80 energy cost burst has the god-forsaken nerve to knock your enemies away from you. This is the worst possible thing you can deal with during combat because it means that you now have to chase after your enemies, which burns stamina and makes it much harder to deal damage to multiple enemies at once. And don't forget, Lisa is built to fight multiple enemies at once, so having abilities that knocks everyone away from her makes it harder for not only her, but the entire team to do its job. Now, her first talent, Induced Aftershock, applies her conductive status to her opponents when she uses her charged attacks, which sounds great in theory, but let me remind you that she's a catalyst user, which means that her charged attacks consume 50 stamina at a time. So if you want a more damaging way to apply conductive status, you not only have to sacrifice stamina, but time, since her charged attacks are much slower than her skill. So her talent makes you choose between burning stamina for a more damaging way to apply her status, or just choose the faster but less damaging routes. Just amazing. That's incredible. A talent that makes you choose how to inconvenience yourself. Her second talent, Static Electricity Field, decreases the defense of enemies hit by her burst by 15% for 10 seconds, which would be amazing, but her burst knocks these very enemies away from you. So even if you use her burst and swap to another character, probably your DPS, because you should not build Lisa as your main DPS, you wouldn't even be able to make full use of the decreased defense against the enemy's hit because they are being knocked away in radial form away from you. What? And sure, this could work well against single target fights like, Child, Senora, Aisha, whatever. But don't forget, she is specifically built to fight multiple enemies. So once again, another talent you can't fully use the potential of. Now let's talk about her constellations. Her C1 helps her battery herself. Cool. Her C2 helps make her skill much safer to use, but all in all, making a bad move slightly less bad doesn't make it good. Her C3 through C5 essentially just buffs her damage, so, that's good. And, her C6 makes her skill much faster and easier to use. This is possibly her best constellation, and understandably so, with it being her C6 and all. However, these are constellations for a free character that will never appear on a character event banner. This means that your only chance of getting Lisa constellations is from Paimon's Bargains, which reset monthly, so it's basically a waiting game, or from the standard banner where she's one of many dozens of units you could randomly get all at the same drop rate, aside from 5 stars. Oh great, someone's dog won't shut up. This is amazing. This means that to collect her constellations to alleviate the many issues her base kit leaves, you would need either a heavy wallet or a deep connection with God, and not everyone has either of these. So Lisa is a walking inconvenience. She takes too much time, knocks enemies away, and leaves herself open and vulnerable for several seconds at a time. And if you want to fix any of these issues, you just can't, because collecting her constellations is going to take a lot of primo gems and luck. Or you could bring more units to cover her shortcomings, but building an entire team to compensate for the inconveniences a single unit brings sounds like far more trouble than it's worth and a massive waste of materials, which are already scarce in this game. This bothers me so much because while her damage is potentially good, it's nearly impossible to take full advantage of without risking everything for it. And to be honest, Lisa isn't worth risking everything for. But yeah, that's why I hate Lisa. She feels like she takes away from the team, which is the farthest thing you'd want from a unit in this game when you only get 4 party slots, and each choice has to pretty much be the best one for the overall performance of the team. And it's not a personal thing I have against Lisa, like, herself. Her personality, it isn't anything I care for, and I love her design, although the hair, we've talked about that. But, I think the overall concept of her kit is cool. It's just that in practice, anything that hurts a team's performance without specific preparation or money to abate, the issues that's being brought about, it's just not worth bringing to the team. You know what I mean? It's literally a hindrance. You are making your life more difficult. You are holding back your team. There's no point. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you could even hear me. I'm still not sure if this microphone is going to get the job done. I really hope, because I now have no microphone. And I do plan on making a lot more Genshin videos. I think this might be like my new thing. This might be the direction I want to take my channel, because as it looks, I'm going to be playing Genshin for a long time, because I've already spent way too much money in this game to let it fade out of, my interest. So I might as well squeeze some content out of it. And Genshin is a very popular game, so hopefully, I can catch a couple views. But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If I'm just flat out wrong about everything I said, let me know in the comments down below. If you have a different opinion, feel free to share. And I'll see you all in the next video.